This video is looking at the B1 topics, cell biology, looking at specialised cells and cell differentiation. So at the beginning, after fertilisation, so when the sperm goes into the egg, mitosis begins. At this point in time, cells are those basic cells, the basic animal cell, the basic plant cell that we looked at in the eukaryotes and prokaryotes video. Cells then start to become different. That's where we get the word differentiate from. And that means that they become specialised. Okay, so there's loads and loads of different types of specialised cells that have particular functions, and there's specific ones that the exam board want us to learn. Okay, and differentiation in animals happens very quickly, whereas differentiation in plants can happen at any point in the plant's life. So cells becoming different, cells becoming specialised, they differentiate. They like us to use both those words, to try and reiterate yourself when you say differentiate, meaning to become specialised. So here are the specific animal cells that they would like us to know the features of. So we've got the sperm cell. We've got the obvious parts to it first of all. We've got the tail, it's streamlined, it helps swimming. Now, because the sperm is using lots and lots of energy in moving that tail, it needs an energy source. So in the middle of the sperm there's lots and lots of mitochondria. In the mitochondria, respiration occurs, which is discussed in the B2 topic. And respiration is the chemical process that releases energy from glucose. So we have lots of mitochondria there. There'll be lots of energy provided for that movement. In the head of the sperm, there are enzymes, and those enzymes enable the sperm to get into the egg. Once the head of the sperm is in the egg, that's where the nucleus is, the tail breaks off and that doesn't actually go into the egg. The egg then builds up this protective wall around itself so no more sperm can enter. Nerve cells are discussed in more detail in the topic B5, but basically they carry electrical impulses along the length of them. They're surrounded by a insulating layer. Okay, you don't need to know any technical terms for the different parts of a nerve cell. And then they have lots of tentacles called dendrites at the end, and they are really good at transferring that information to lots of different places. Lastly, we've got our muscle cell. Muscles can only contract and relax, and we talk about muscles in so many different topics, but we must remember they can only contract or relax. Don't use any other words to describe what muscles can do. And they have lots of mitochondria to provide that energy for the muscle contractions. Let's look at the specialised plant cells, and again these come up in B2 and again in B4. So we've got the root hair cell. The root hair cell doesn't have any chloroplast. Why? Because it's underground, it can't absorb any light, so there's no photosynthesis happening in those cells. It's got a large surface area that enables more water to move in by osmosis, more minerals to move in by active transport, and active transport requires energy, so there's lots of mitochondria there as well, providing that energy for active transport to take place. More about that in the active transport video. Xylem cells, these are long tubes strengthened with lignin. Basically the cells are almost, imagine them stacked on top of each other, and then the end walls disintegrate, so it creates this long tube. And just like when we drink through a straw, as soon as some water has evaporated from the leaf and has left through the stomata, which are surrounded by the guard cells, more water is drawn up through the roots, from the ground, up the stem to the leaf. We say that the movement of minerals and water through the xylem is called the process of transpiration. It's one direction, just from roots up to the leaf. Phloem is a little bit more complicated. Again, the cells are stacked on top of each other, but those end walls are retained and they have small pores in them which allow substances to go through them. Now, the phloem are transporting the sugars around the plant. So if the leaf is doing the photosynthesis, that's where the sugar's being made, but every single cell in the plant is respiring, okay, going through the process of respiration, because all living things respire. So that sugar needs to be transported to different locations. So the process is called translocation. Xylem, it was transpiration, and phloem, it's translocation. And it's transporting the sugar to different locations around the plant that need it for respiration. Hence, travelling in all directions, because that sugar needs to get everywhere. So you can see on there, the arrows go up and down. Hope you found that useful. Thank you.